Hey there! In this video I want to talk to you about trauma, protection mechanisms, and triggers, and how the society we are living in as a whole is a recipe for relational trauma and situational trauma for a lot of people, or I would even say maybe all of the people that are living on this planet. When you as a little child experience relational or situational trauma, or you experience a very negative event, which is very stressful, chaotic, messy, or even fearful, the first thing that happens is that you feel completely overwhelmed, because you feel often then at that moment in time very strong negative emotions such as anger, sadness, grief, or anxiety, which you aren't capable or aren't able to process in a healthy and mature way, because nobody taught you how to do that, or the situation was so stressful and chaotic that nobody was present there to help you process that in a correct, emotionally healthy way. So what happens is that you experience strong, negative, heavy feelings and or emotions that you aren't capable of feeling in a healthy and emotionally mature way, because you are a little child and you're not very equipped with the right tools and the right resources and the right knowledge to do that. And also, often because of the emotionally immature society we are living in, the adults around you aren't capable of doing that either. And sometimes you find yourself in a situational trauma, like a war, or having to flee from war, or abuse, rape, being abducted, being stolen from, being physically abused, your parents divorcing, your father leaving you, your mother or your father dying at a very young age, etc. And these situational traumatic events are so heavy and so intense because it seems as if they come out of nowhere and you don't have the right resources, you don't have the right tools, you're very young, so you feel helpless, lonely, insecure, etc. You experience that you cannot save yourself, and this helplessness is traumatic in and of itself. The same for relational trauma. When you have emotionally unavailable parents, or one of your parents is addicted to alcohol, for example, or one of your parents is very strict, aggressive, dictatorial, etc. As a little child, you are dependent on your caretakers. So you cannot leave the situation, you cannot solve the situation, and you cannot change it. So you feel very helpless, alone, anxious, and powerless. You feel out of control, whether it's situational trauma or relational trauma. And both of these traumas are negative childhood experiences, of course. And this feeling of helplessness, out of control, the feeling of not being able to understand the situation, to make sense of the situation, to make sense of what you're feeling, and not being able to process the heavy emotions you feel in a emotionally mature and healthy way, causes you to shut down, or to freeze, or to panic, or to want to run away all the time, or to become very aggressive, the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. People pleasing also, for example. So it causes you to live in survival mode and to have your fight or flight responses activated constantly. And because you're not able to process these events, whether they are short-term and intense or long-term and less intense, doesn't matter. Because you're not able to process them in a healthy way, the only thing you can do is to suppress the heavy emotions and feelings, the heavy experience of the event, to suppress it, to numb the emotions, to dissociate from it, to split yourself from it, to freeze, to numb yourself, and to just push it away. What happens then is that you create a split inside yourself, right? And you suppress all those parts, all these heavy emotions, feelings, experiences, memories, because you can't process them. It's a very helpful and useful protection mechanism in the moment of the traumatic event or over a longer period of time. You protect yourself with it. So don't be hard on yourself for suppressing all that stuff. In the moment, that's good, that's fine. But what happens is that the real experience of the traumatic event, or the experience of a longer period of feeling unsafe, you think you push it away and put it away and suppress it, but it never really leaves you. The event and the intense emotions connected to that event, or this longer period of feeling unsafe, will be stored in your body and in your subconscious mind. And you will carry it with you throughout your life without knowing it, without knowing that you suppressed it. Because a big part of suppression is trying to forget, right? But it's still there in your subconscious mind and stored in your body. And the thing is, Because of that, parts of you are still tied to your past. Parts of you are here in the present, of course, living your life. But when in your daily life, subconsciously, something reminds you of that traumatic event or that longer period of feeling unsafe or the relational trauma with your parents, this suppressed event that is stored in your body and your subconscious mind will be triggered and activated. And the protection mechanisms that you created around it to suppress it will also be activated. So, for example, if you're at work and you respond overly emotional to something which is a little bit of an overreaction and you don't understand why you do that, it is possible that your past traumatic event is triggered and you relive that experience. And then all of a sudden, the situation at work feels subconsciously the same as the traumatic event from your past. So you respond as if you are back in that situation again. But it is a new and different situation which actually doesn't have anything to do with this traumatic event. But because the traumatic event is still subconsciously present in your body and in your subconscious mind, it will be triggered and activated all the time when you do not address it, acknowledge it, go back to it, retrieve your lost and hurt parts, heal them and integrate them, and heal the experience. Take it with you and integrate it into your existence. Triggers can be anything like colors, sounds, smells, the way someone looks at you, someone's eyebrows, someone's eyes. If you walk past two people and they laugh and you think it's all about you. If someone doesn't respond quickly enough to your text. Maybe your parents were divorced and you felt very abandoned by your mother or your father and you have this abandonment trauma inside of you, and now you're with your partner and he or she wants a divorce and you relive the traumatic events from the past all over again, and you're experiencing so many uncontrollable emotions that you do not recognize yourself anymore. This is what we call reliving trauma. So as a little child, we experience all kinds of little or big, small or large traumatic events, whether situational or relational. We can call it negative childhood experiences or trauma. It doesn't really matter how we call it, but we experience all kinds of situations and events that we couldn't handle and process emotionally and healthily at that moment in time. So we suppressed the experiences, the emotions, the feelings, the panic, the anxiety, the anger, the rage, the sadness, the grief. We suppressed it all and we created coping mechanisms around those strong and heavy feelings to not ever feel that again anymore, because that's what our goal is. We do not ever want to feel that way we felt when we were a little child. But the thing is, we have to feel it in order to heal it. And because we carry that with us, parts of us are still living in the past. And those parts are sabotaging our growth, are sabotaging our relationships, are sabotaging our performance, are sabotaging the way we look at the world and the way we look at ourselves. They cause us to emotionally overreact in situations where it really wasn't necessary to react that way. It causes us to not recognize ourselves sometimes anymore. It causes us to feel alone, helpless, restless, always seeking, always trying to improve ourselves. Our jealousy, our anger, our irritation, our frustration, people that we meet that, I don't know, give us a strange feeling. It all can be past traumatic events that are triggered by certain people. And this list can go on and on and on. But what I want you to understand is that the way you look at the world, the way you respond to the world, the way you react to the world often is colored because of negative childhood experiences. And these experiences are stored in your body and in your subconscious mind, and they are being activated when something around you in the present moment subconsciously reminds you of the past traumatic event that you are trying to suppress, or the suppressed emotions from your past that you are trying to suppress and keep suppressed because you are afraid to feel them or they feel too overwhelming, such as anger, rage, or grief, or sadness, or anxiety. Anxiety often in this case is learned helplessness, restlessness, overwhelm, hypersensitivity, hypervigilance, overstimulation, not having the feeling that you're in control. If you grew up in a very messy, chaotic environment because of emotionally unpredictable parents or parents with an addiction, for example, then you had to always be on guard. You could never sit still and rest and relax. You felt very unsafe for maybe more than 10 years of your life. And it gives you a real feeling that you are not in control of your life. And this learned helplessness and this feeling out of control can be triggered all the time. And it can bring you back to that feeling of growing up in a household like that, not having control, having to be on guard, not feeling safe, etc. But it can also be something completely different. For example, if you were being robbed while walking on the street as a little child, this one traumatic event, when not processed properly and in a healthy way, can cause blockages in your daily life right now. So what's important to understand is when you experience suffering, struggles, problems in your daily life, in your job, in your relationships, and you feel triggered or overly emotionally reactive, you feel out of control, stressed, anxious, or maybe you have a period where you feel more agitated, frustrated, or irritated all the time, or you're very angry at someone but you don't know why. This can be all reliving trauma, and this can be all because you're triggered and a past event is triggered. So, and to overcome those triggers, to overcome your suffering and struggles, you have to take a deep dive inside, travel to your past, understand the triggers, understand where it's coming from, heal the situation, sit with this inner child, this lost and hurt part of you, feel the emotions, accept it, acknowledge it, invite it in your existence, and integrate it in your being. Give yourself what you needed back then, and take this situation and the lost and hurt parts of you with you. Put it in your heart, process it, sit with it, and do not try to suppress it anymore. And then you can integrate it in your being and in your existence and in your awareness, and you can desensitize the triggers and the situation. And this is how you heal the trauma over time, by doing these exercises. And this is how you overcome your struggles or your suffering or the blockage that you experience. And it's not a magic pill. It's not that one time you do a somatic exercise, for example, a trauma healing exercise, and it's gone. But you can desensitize the situation or the prolonged period of time or this one big traumatic event. You can desensitize it, and over time, the effects and the triggers will get less and less and less, and you can feel the ground coming back under your feet again. And remember, if you feel like you run across trauma or traumatic events or negative childhood experiences that you don't want to or feel like you can't handle on your own, or first you want to do these exercises with someone to understand how to do it properly, this is what I do in my one-on-one guidance sessions. So feel free to come to me, book a session with me, and let's do it together. Have a nice day and good luck. Hey there, if you like this video, then please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos on all of these topics. My name is Myrthe Glasbergen, I'm the founder of Beyond Psychology, and I'm also an occupational health psychologist, coach, and intuitive singer and creator. And I've created my own method for somatic and emotional healing and inquiry because I strongly believe that the tools of traditional psychologists such as talk therapy and coaching fall short because they focus way too much on cognitive healing, while our true healing takes place on an emotional level. So all my tools contain healing music, spoken word, poetry, and voice healing to help you get into a receptive and investigative state of being from which you can take a deep dive inside your body, stay present with yourself, and heal your suffering at the root. So if you want to work on the topic of this video or one of my other videos, then you can do that in 3 ways. You can work one-on-one with me in my one-on-one practice. You can find the link below. But you can also visit my web shop to find a specific tool for a specific theme. And you can subscribe to Heart Journey. It's my online platform and community for self-discovery, healing, transformation, and growth. You will gain access to all of my tools for healing. And there's a step-by-step journey to help you go from awakening to healing to transformation to embodiment. Thank you for being here and have a nice day.